What's up, everybody? Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. Texas 20, Arkansas 10. I don't know where to begin, really. Let's start at the beginning and maybe the end, and then maybe go over some things that happened in the middle of the game. Obviously, don't like the way the game started for the Arkansas offense. Tyrone Broden's got to make that catch, first of all, and at least if you don't make the catch, don't tip it up in the air to where the Texas defensive back intercepts it. And that's been a big problem for Arkansas, just not enough playmakers at wide receiver. You got Andrew Armstrong, Isaiah Satania, Isaac TeSlaa pops up every once in a while, but that's been pretty much it for Arkansas. And then right down here, in a drive where you've got to have it, like Arkansas is moving the ball. They finally overcome a big sack, and we'll talk about the sacks also. They overcome a big sack, and I thought actually Isaiah Satania was maybe supposed to be in the game. He'd run that deep pattern, and then he came off the field, and C.J. Brown came in, which I don't know, I think maybe the first time he's come in all game. But C.J. hadn't caught a pass all year. He's a true freshman. And to put him in a situation right there, and that's what Sam Pittman said afterwards, that like they had full confidence in him and everything. I can't agree with, running that tunnel screen to a true freshman, and he's holding the ball like this, the nose of the football's up. You got to have 5 points of pressure on this, on any level, but especially on this level, and fumbles the ball. It was a huge play for Arkansas, a drive that they had to have. I know a lot of people are very frustrated, obviously, with losing to Texas. Texas got a better team than Arkansas. I don't know that there's any individual in this one moment, huge amount of shame losing a game to Texas 20-10, the number 3 ranked team in the country, at least in and of itself, not a fireable offense. And I've reported already, Sam Pittman is going to be back next year as long as nothing crazy happens like a loss to Louisiana Tech. But damn, it sure would help things if you beat. Hey guys. It sure would help things if you could beat Missouri and win 7 games, give yourself a chance to win 8 games as far as how people feel about the offseason and stuff. So there were some things along the game that, this is nitpicky. And people who know me understand that sometimes I have a bad habit of expecting too much out of people. But this isn't the drive-through at Taco Bell here. This is, making huge decisions, $1 million decisions, and just little small things like it's right before the half. Texas is calling timeouts. They're trying to get the ball back. And you snap the ball on a punt with 8 seconds left. You got 3 timeouts. Well, that's a play. That's a whole play. Take it down to 1 second, call timeout, and then punt it. Why just give Texas a free play? And I know that's not how it played out, but just little details like that sometimes can be frustrating. And, putting C.J. Brown in that situation, I think C.J.'s got a lot of ability, but that is a huge moment in this game to put a freshman in for the first time, and look what happens. You make a mistake like that, So those things are frustrating, I think, for anybody watching that's been watching, but defense, we got to talk about defense. It shouldn't be 3 minutes into this walk and talk and then I just start bringing up the defense, but outstanding game by them, especially coming off of how they played against Ole Miss. Went back to the 3-2-6, the old Barry Odom style defense that they had a lot of success with back in 2020, 2021. So kudos to them for making some changes in the secondary. Also, Keon Stewart, Miguel Mitchell had that bad play where he bit on that hitch and go on that touchdown, but overall, some positive changes for the Arkansas defense. This is a Texas offense that puts up 301 yards a game passing in, and what they were, I can't remember what the total was, but it was obviously well under that. So good job all by the defense. If they could just continue to get that play. This is the first game against a veteran seasoned quarterback where the defense has played really solid and giving you a chance. And, we talk about some of the same things like turnovers, penalties, special teams, overcoming injuries, making your opponents pay for their mistakes, those types of things. There were just some opportunities that Arkansas had on defense. I think they maybe got their hands on a couple of balls where they could have made a play. There's that fumble down here. That would have been obviously very difficult to get to on the long run. But, special teams, generally overall pretty good on special teams, but you did have that just kind of a shank punt where they were getting some pressure and you had a bad punt. It led to 3 points, Little tiny details in a game like that, little things like that add up, and you get the score that you got in this one. I think Arkansas has really got to look at Talon and how he takes sacks. It seems like they're always huge losses. They also had that time where he was about sacked and ended up throwing a pass for -8 yards. I think it ended up in a 4th and 25 on that drive. Whatever happened to taking a 2-yard or 4-yard sack? That's much more manageable, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 14 versus 2nd and 18. And I'm looking at the numbers. what did they do when you take away 4 sacks for 35 yards in the first half? Well, they ran the ball pretty well. They got 51 yards rushing if you take away the sacks. That's 4.6 yards a carry. Why aren't they running the ball more? And then I asked Pittman afterwards, Jaquinnon only had 11 carries in the game. Were you trying to manage his carries? Maybe he's not 100% healthy, and that wasn't the case either. But also understand, like, when you're taking 8-yard sacks, it's hard to run the ball a lot. And Arkansas, that happened to them several times, and plus they had the long one. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for watching. Hey, thank you. So anyway, yeah, you felt like they might have had an opportunity if they figured some things out on offense a little sooner. Like, obviously it's frustrating when you see them have so much success running the ball, and then they're getting Texas off balance, because in the second half they're running, they're able to hit some passes to Andrew Armstrong, and just having a lot of success in that regard. But you would have liked to seen a 20 by Jaquinnon Jackson's name instead of an 11 in terms of number of carries. He had 56 yards and a touchdown. So yeah, it's I've had some time to sit and process it. When you're in the moment of it, it's just very frustrating to see some things happen. But again, some good things by the defense to bounce back after the way they played so terribly against Ole Miss. And I'm going to say this, like, guys, if they can obviously beat Louisiana Tech, which, here's the thing about Louisiana Tech that kind of would scare me if I'm Sam Pittman. Like, I don't want to come out here and look like hell against Louisiana Tech, because they've had a tendency to play poorly against some of those teams that they should really, really beat soundly. You think about a Kent State or UAB this season. Obviously the Liberty game, which Liberty was a good team, but still should have been beaten. The G5 opponent should always be beaten. But Louisiana Tech, they lost last week to Jacksonville State, which is a pretty good team for a G5 team. They've lost 3 overtime games. They're 3-9. It's kind of one of those situations, like Josh Pate says, you're not necessarily what your record says you are. But as long as Arkansas wins that one, that gets them to 6 wins. That gives them one more win than I thought they were going to have this season. But man, that Missouri game, if this could be the year that you go down there and take Missouri and Columbia, this would be the year to do it, because a lot of people are going to be disgruntled, and totally justified to be disgruntled, for Sam Pittman retaining his job this year, going 6-6, coming off of a 4-8 season. And I get that totally. I also understand the climate of football that they're in right now, with trying to figure out a way to get $20 million so you can pay the players with the revenue sharing plan, versus paying a huge buyout to Sam Pittman, all the coaches, the buyout for the new coach, his salary, yada, 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 so on and so forth. I get the climate that everybody's in right now. It's just, 6-6 isn't going to provide a boost of momentum in the offseason, but 7 wins might. Win a bowl game and you're at 8 wins. If the defense can play like they are now, and they can keep things maybe on the ground, stop taking these huge sacks, then maybe you could get something like that going. It would be hard to argue with an 8-win season. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I know they beat the Louisiana Tech, obviously first. But again, in and of itself, like, just this one game against Texas, yes, it's frustrating to lose any game. Everybody has the right to be pissed. That's the highs and lows. If we didn't have reasons to be pissed off, we have no reason to have joy, I guess. But in and of itself, it's like not a reason to be like, fire everybody. But when you take the whole thing together, there's arguments to be made. I get that, I understand. But I am just telling you, like, I'm not saying like this is what you need to think or what you need to believe, what you need to believe or anything. But from very good sources, barring anything crazy, that Sam Pittman is going to be the coach at Arkansas next year, the way it is. All right. So, sacks, got to do a better job protecting the quarterback. I mean, the offensive line is just kind of what we said it was. Like, I've been wrong so many times this game. Is that new? I don't remember that there. But I've been wrong, obviously, and football is just harder than ever before to predict. And, you can almost gauge Arkansas's win-loss record by the number of turnovers they had. They had 2, Texas had 0. Texas wins by 2 scores. But, hell, I don't even know where I was going on. Yeah, I've been wrong a lot on this season. But, the offensive line, just kind of what I'd seen early and seen in the spring. Like, yes, it's an improved offensive line from last year. That's not hard to do. But it's still subpar. It's still a subpar unit, especially when it comes to pass protection. But they can actually run the ball, guys. Like, they can they can have success running the ball. I just feel like they need to stick to it more. And maybe it took a little too long for them to recognize that they were having success running the ball. But at the same time, like when they passed, they'd have an eight-yard sack every time. I just went up the stairs for no reason to run into my friendly gate here that won't let me out, to go back down the stairs and walk over here, because I have a terrible sense of direction, especially doing this. So, what else do we need to talk about? Good job by the defense. A couple errors here and there. Offense overall started getting it going. Just some choices, you know, like they got to figure something out at wide receiver. I don't know if it's giving somebody else a look, but I would like to see Tesla on the field more, along with obviously Satania and Andrew Armstrong. Like, he had 6 catches today. He might need to be a guy that has like 10 catches. Like, just wear him out over and over again, because you just don't have as many weapons. And obviously get Lucas, continue to involve him. But for whatever reason, the offense at the beginning of the game just seemed slow and just didn't feel like they had, I don't know, just didn't seem very crisp. And when you saw when they were able to run the ball, they were also able to pass the ball. It's kind of that old adage that's kind of been forgotten a little bit in football, using the run to set up the pass. Texas average, I mean, they're 89% or 89 efficiency rating, which is outstanding defensive pass efficiency rate. Like, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody in the SEC in the time I've been covering football that held teams under like 110 pass efficiency defense. So that's a pretty outstanding number. In Arkansas, they were given 139 yards a game. I think Arkansas threw for like 159 or something. So a little bit better than average, I guess. That's it, I guess. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, 12-minute walk and talk. That's usually about right. So we'll wrap it up, I guess. Arkansas basketball on Monday. Expanded baseball coverage at HawgSports.com, HawgSports.com. Check out our content over there. And yeah, on to Louisiana Tech. Get that one, get bowl eligible, and then go beat Missouri. That can happen this year. I think that can happen this year. It's just, I mean, obviously you don't predict anything like that, but because Missouri is 7-2, they just haven't played anybody. But this would be the year to get that game. And then maybe you carry a little bit of momentum. And it's hard to say that right now because we're coming off of a loss. But when you're in it and you can end the game, you know, regular season on a win, maybe get a bowl win, then maybe you can generate a little bit. But hard to do that right now. All right, everybody, this is Trey Biddy with HawgSports.com. We'll catch you next time.